The fourth Sunday of Lent, known also as Laetare Sunday, coming from the opening words of the entrance antiphon, "Rejoice, Jerusalem. No more mourning or complaining. Be comforted." We're halfway through Lent, and perhaps it might be the first Sunday of Lent for you, of your recovery, of your beginning. Wherever you are, that's where you are. To understand the gospel today, we have to do a little understanding of John's dramatic theory. There's a prologue, a little opening, prelude. And it is in chapter 1, verse 4 and 5, where John refers to Jesus as the light and the life of the human race. And the light has not been overcome by the darkness. So there's, like in any prelude, there's a hint at what's coming. So in John's gospel, Jesus is meant to be seen as light. Now light, you can see a light, and because of the light, you can see other things as well. So Jesus is meant to be seen, and then other realities seen in him. As it says in the prologue, everything that was created in him. So then it's, as Jesus as light, he has come to be seen and to point out what is everything else. And so the first chapter, in some ways the very first things he says is, come and see. Come and see. And that's the invitation to come and sit and watch the drama of the gospel. Now we move ahead to chapter 6, in which Jesus is in tremendous conflict with the Pharisees and is arguing with them, and they are arguing with him. And he even says, it's about the bread of heaven, and he had just fed the 5,000, and people are coming after him because he has fed them in their hunger. And the Pharisees don't like that. They don't like to be replaced by him in a way. And so they are arguing with him. And he says, the bread that you think Moses gave you, Moses didn't give it to you. My Father in heaven gave it to your people and to you. So my Father has now given you me as bread. Oh, they don't like that. So there's a tremendous argument, and it climaxes near the end of John 6, in which many said, this is way too hard. This is hard stuff. So they don't stay with him. And the apostles, who have been listening to this argument about the bread of life and those who have to eat my body and drink my blood, Jesus said to them, aren't you going away too? They said, no, we have come to know that you are the Christ. We are believing. We have seen you, and we have seen ourselves in you. Now, the chapter for today's gospel is a long gospel. We read the whole entire chapter 9. And chapter 9 really should come after chapter 6. And many scholars say that's where it belongs, because it's a continuation with the argument with the Pharisees. So what do we have? We have a man born blind. Okay? And Jesus heals him. And it's interesting, he sends him to the pool known as Siloam, which means sent. And in John's Gospel, Jesus is the one who is sent. You can look up word count in John's Gospel. Sent is probably the most commonly used word after Jesus. Sent. So he is, in a way, baptized. And Jesus uses spittle and clay and makes a paste and dabs it on the man's eyes, and he can see. In a way, it's another creation narrative, the breathing into the clay. And so it's a way of, I have come to you as light to the human race. I have come to help you see yourself. And that's redemptive. So it's a way of answering the question, who are you? I am how I look in the eyes of Jesus. That's who I am. Now, there's a tremendous argument, and it's playful in a way, because the Pharisees go to his parents, then they go back to him, and then they throw him out of the temple. That's one way to get rid of it. And then at the end, Jesus kind of finds him, and he says, because of me, you see me, and you see yourself. And that's when the man says, I see that I am a believer because I have seen you and seen who you say I am. Now, we have a phrase in our culture, looking at things through rosy-colored glasses. Rosy-colored glasses. What does that mean? It means optimistically or unrealistically hopeful. Everything's going to be okay. Everything is okay. Well, that's one way of looking at reality. Everything's going to be okay because of Jesus. No, everything is not going to be okay. There's pain and suffering and loss of life. So we are not to look at life through rosy-colored glasses, but through what kind of glasses? Clarity? Maybe looking at things the way we answer the questions. What is that? Who is that? Who am I? Those are very good, speculative, coming from the word to look, very speculative questions. I'm looking for the answers. And some can say, I only will believe if I can see it. That is, we have a phrase, oh, I see, meaning I understand. And as if understanding were true sight. How about this? How about being blinded by what you see? What if that's a blindness? What if it's a blindness because of living in the darkness of the necessity that you look at everything according to your own selfish demands? What if you get blinded by seeing everything as an opportunity to dominate or regret? And so maybe real sight, the sight that Jesus gives, is a sight to see things as he sees them as light, as they are exposed because he is light. What are things? What are these? What are those? Who are they? And we can be blinded by the color of their skin, or the clothes they wear, or the cars they drive, or the place they live. What we see, we say, oh, I see, meaning I believe. No. Seeing is not believing. believing is a way of seeing. And believing is looking at things, seeing things, if you will, sacramentally. And the Pharisees could not. They said, bread, wine? Jesus said, no, can you go a little beyond? That this is a sacramental, a mentality for the sacred. Translation of sacraments. And we can look at things through the way he looks at things and asks us to look at things the way he sees them. These are my brothers and sisters. All of them. This is a gift from God. She or he or they. So it's how you answer questions is how you look. How you look at things will then be how you see them. And looking at things through sacramental glasses, that everything is some way a gift from God, some way of conversation from God, some way of Jesus saying, come and see what things really are, what people really are, what you really are. Not defined by the culture, not defined by past regrets. So the blindness is how I look at things not through his eyes. I do not look at things by his light. And he keeps sending us back to the scent, to the pool, and having our clay blessed. That the clay is now not just clay, but it is meant to be seen as a God's creation of me, you, them. So it is a recovery of sight in several ways. And it is a humbling thing to realize the different colored glasses, the distortion, the focus has been disturbed. And maybe Lent is to call us back to see things and to see ourselves in the eyes of Jesus.